What if the answer to exhaustion after 70 wasn't found in a pill bottle or another restrictive diet? What if it was something far simpler and far more human? This is the story of my uncle, a man who, after turning 70, felt like he was fading, not in pain, but in presence. The sparkle behind his eyes had dimmed, his steps were slower, his laughter less frequent. Everyone told him it was normal. Age, they said, inevitable. But he didn't believe that, and he didn't accept it. My uncle had always been the life of every gathering. He wasn't loud, just alive. But a few months after his 71st birthday, something changed. He started saying no to walks, forgot the punchlines to jokes he used to love, took afternoon naps that stretched into the evening. His voice grew quieter, like someone turning the volume down on a favorite song. Doctors said everything was normal for his age. Blood pressure fine, no serious disease. Still, something was missing. He wasn't sick, but he also wasn't himself, until something shifted. And that's what this story is about. Because my uncle didn't reclaim his energy through pills or cutting out food he loved. He did it by reconnecting to three things he never realized he'd lost, and none of them came in a bottle. One, he stopped calling it energy and started calling it aliveness. The first thing my uncle did, it wasn't physical. It was emotional. He told me one day over tea, maybe I don't need more energy. Maybe I just need to feel more alive again. That shift, subtle as it sounds, changed everything. Instead of asking, how do I boost my energy? He started asking, what makes me feel like myself again? That question pulled him away from tracking his steps or timing his meals, and pulled him toward moments of laughter, connection, stillness. It led him to rejoin his weekly chess group, not because he was good, he wasn't, but because it made him feel sharp again. It led him to pick up his harmonica for the first time in years, just to feel music move through him. And strangely, once he stopped chasing energy and started chasing aliveness, he got both. 2. He practiced what I now call micro movements of joy. My uncle didn't return to the gym. He didn't start a boot camp. He didn't download a single app. But he moved, not for the sake of exercise, but for the sake of ritual. He watered his plants slowly each morning, whistling softly as he did. He walked to the mailbox twice a day, once for the mail, once just to wave to the neighbors. Science now shows us that even light, joyful movements can stimulate the nervous system, increase circulation, and boost dopamine production, especially in aging bodies. We often think of exercise as a program, but for him, it was a pattern of micro movements wrapped in meaning. And that rhythm, gentle as it was, helped rebuild not just muscle, but momentum. Here's something fascinating. A 2022 study from Stanford showed that engaging in low-intensity, meaningful movement, like gardening, dancing, or walking with intention, can activate the same neural pathways as formal workouts in adults over 65, especially when paired with emotionally positive context. Such movement increases neuroplasticity, reduces inflammatory markers, and enhances overall vitality. In other words, how you move matters more than how hard you move, and that became the foundation of my uncle's recovery. He wasn't forcing reps, he was returning to rhythm. One afternoon, I watched him walk to the corner store. It was maybe 200 steps, but he paused 3 times. Once to say hello to a little girl jumping rope, once to adjust a crooked potted plant outside someone's porch, and once to close his eyes for a full 10 seconds and just feel the sun. I haven't felt this alive in years, he said quietly when he returned. I didn't even buy anything. I just remembered what the world feels like. What if you didn't need to do more? What if you simply needed to feel more? What parts of your day still have space for wonder? What movements do you do not, because you should, but because they whisper you back to life? 3. He rebuilt his mornings without changing the clock. My uncle didn't become a morning person. He still woke up around 8 o'clock. But what changed wasn't the time. It was the texture of his mornings. He stopped checking the news first thing, stopped rushing to start the day. Instead, he built a 15-minute ritual he called my window to myself. He'd sit by the same window every morning, same chair, same cup, same quiet, no phone, no planning, no performance, just sitting, watching the light change on the neighbor's roof, listening to the kettle, feeling his breath soften. Within a month, that 15-minute pause started to restore something deeper than energy. It restored his relationship with presence. He wasn't waking up to get through the day. He was waking up to meet himself again. 4. He spoke to his body, like it was a friend, not a machine. This was subtle, but powerful. He stopped saying things like, "My knees are failing me," or "My back is getting old." Instead, he'd smile and say, "My knees are asking for a slower rhythm today. My back just wants a gentler chair." That language shift rewired more than just mindset. Research now shows that how we talk about our bodies affects how our brain perceives and responds to pain and fatigue. Negative self-talk creates anticipatory fatigue. Your body expects decline and adjusts accordingly. But when we speak with care, we signal the brain to stay engaged, adaptive, responsive. My uncle didn't treat his body like a worn-out machine. He treated it like an old friend, one he was learning to listen to again. 5. He reached for others without needing to be fixed. At first, he didn't want to talk about his low energy. He didn't want to burden anyone. But over time, he began to share small things. How he missed the sound of his old record player. How he wished someone would walk slower with him sometimes. He wasn't asking for pity. He was asking to be seen. That's when his old friend Tony started stopping by every Tuesday just to sit with him in the garden. No agenda, no advice, just presence. Social neuroscience shows that gentle, non-demanding companionship reduces cortisol, improves cardiovascular recovery, and increases oxytocin, the hormone of calm and connection. Sometimes what revives a tired heart isn't action, it's accompaniment. And perhaps the most beautiful thing, his grandchildren began asking to sit by that same window in the morning, sometimes with him, sometimes after he left the room. They didn't ask why. They just felt the energy of a person who had returned to his own life and wanted to quietly be near it. That too is a form of healing, of passing something on without saying a word. Maybe energy isn't something we chase. Maybe it's something we remember, something we return to, gently, through ritual, through connection, through speaking to our bodies with kindness again. Maybe the question isn't, how do I get my energy back? Maybe it's, what makes me feel like I still belong here, in this moment, in this breath, in this story that isn't finished yet? Because sometimes it's not your strength that's gone, it's your song, and the right morning, the right rhythm, the right pause can help you hear it again. You don't need to reinvent your life to reclaim your aliveness. You just need to notice the moments that already want to meet you halfway. What is one small ritual, just for you, that brings back a sense of being alive? Share it in the comments. Your quiet practice might become someone else's first step. If this story touched you and you'd like more reflections on how to live well, age deeply, and walk gently back to yourself, subscribe to Healthy Aging Hub. We're walking this road with you.